There's Sandra out in her yard. Just Howard stuff. It looks like tobacco farms here. Penn State rabbit flags at half-mast. Turn around. Stuff hanging everywhere. And in her garage. I'm gonna pause now and go out to her property. This is from the northern part of my sister's, Sandra Kazin's house. You can see the deep ravine and drop off here. I'm going to pan out to show you where her property originally extended to. Close up where that big fir tree is over there. That I'm homing in on it. That was the end of my sister's property. The original creek bed was up to the right, and it flowed down that way. Now it just kind of slid down, and I'll pan out a little more just to show you how much property is that I lost. As I pan to the left, this will show you the property that she lost. As you can see, she had a swimming pool, and that probably what saved it from turning around was that the pool being filled, acting like a buffer. And this is the back of my sister's house. It's probably an 8-foot drop off of that ledge. But as I say, that part of what I'm showing you right now, that was all her property. I'm estimating probably 200 to 300 feet back, and at least I'm saying close to 200 feet wide that she lost. And she's bordering on the edge here, as you can see from this angle. I'll get one from another angle. This is a view looking down off the ravine underneath her porch here. I can't swing around that way. I think you can see the damage and the destruction that was done. As I say, that big fir up on the left was the end of her property line, excuse me. And the fir on the right, that's where the original creek went in. As you're looking at it now, it would be towards the right-hand side. That's the original creek bed. All this destruction that you see and these rocks, that was my sister's property. And the elevation on it was as high as, well, as you see what's left. Well, I'm going to go upstairs and take some pictures from the top of her. I'm on top of my sister's porch area. As you can see, that's her pool. or what was left of it, and the concrete sidewalk around it. You could actually see the liner from the other side. But again, I'll give you a wide angle from where I'm at. This is the destruction. And again, I'll pan a little bit and zoom about halfway. That's the original creek bed over there, which is now beneath me. Sorry about that. Used to be nice green grass all over here. Like I said, the fir on the left and the fir on the right is where her property extended to. You can see the buffer right over there, and that came. I'm going to zoom a little bit. I guess that's part of what she paid to, or what was placed in there, and it came around right through there and then swung around over on that edge. View from her pool. As you can see, her riding lawnmower is now on top of the cover. Somehow that got washed. Terrible destruction. Terrible. And again, as I said, this is as much property as she has right now. It could really gouge an area out. And again, standing now was once my sister's property. I guess it still is, but the creek took it over. And you can see the destruction. You can see the liner in the pool. I'll try and tell you on that. And what I'm panning here is what was nice, a lavish green grass, country grass. And that's where the original channel was. We're looking up creek, and this is the fir tree that, well, was kind of like a border for her property. And it's all part of this creek. And I take a couple still pictures now. Again, some footage of, I'm standing right next to the fir tree. Actually on the other side of it, excuse me again. Where my sister's, Sandra Kazantz's property used to come up to. It's gorgeous here. Some of the sidewalk in the water. Sorry about jumping around. And get this a little more stabilized. I think that's our pool cover still attached. And the corner of the old snapper, I think, or Cosmo, whatever it was. Down here. The house. Down. This is the front of Sandra's house. And it really looks, as you can see, we're draining things out here. This is where it came around too. I think she said all our benches went down and around. There's that bridge again. It's Du Bois Street, small bridge. Well, I don't know. I guess not good. But you can see the deterioration on the bridge. That's why I zoomed it. All right. We'll pause and go take a shot from off the bridge. Well, just a view of this bridge. It's taking a pretty good beating. It's a rebar sticking out. Again, rebar all out of this. Here's my chute. Guess that's a drain hole of sorts. Now on the opposite side of the creek where the original bed was at, as you can see it, I think this was part of it. And again, Sandra's, it used to be her property. This one's teetering on the edge there. I believe it's going to eat out, probably come down. So. Going upstream. Should be standing right now on the spot where Sandra had her picnic table. And this was all a lot of lavish green, soil, lawn, flowers, garden. And we were going to send this one to the White House. It's laying in the creek bed. One made a splendid Christmas tree. It's better than this one. Just to give you the height on it. Let's see, there's again, there's the pole. That was our starting point. Commonwealth Telephone taking care of their phone lines. Now I'm on the opposite side of the river on the other fir tree, which I think this is where the original bed came here. That's the point there. It's the rock pile. I used to swing around to the left. It came down and it went to the right, I believe. Again, just another pain. What water can do. Again, what could have been the White House Christmas tree laying in the water now. It's unfortunate. It was a beaut. It's right at this point where it jumps back into its original bed. And as you can see, it's on the left side where it originally was. And up and around. I'll backtrack. Bridge over the Boy Street. It's in terrible disrepair. I'll close up on it again. And you could see this. It really needs some work on it. Back off. Again. Jumps in its bed here. Way around Sandy's, and it actually came to the right here, looking upstream. In the house. Right here, right about here, it starts to cross back over. Underneath the little tree here. As you can see. And once again. Here. That was dumped. What's up here? I think these two are huckleberry pickers. Yeah, you got any salmon? You fishing? Mess here. What a mess. Unbelievable. Look at this. PennDOT boys out there getting this road opened up. Doing a mighty fine job. Possibility of it being a one-lane road, but it's just for the locals. Just taking a walk along. Hope this isn't too bouncy. Everybody here off of Du Bois Street. Tragic, terrible damage. So look at these guys. There's some of Sandra's topsoils down here. Look at this stuff. Look at this. Just flattened. Wow. On Du Bois Street, Hallstead. Du Bois. Doing one hell of a job. Good boys. Working hard. Wow. license plate on that one is PA 910181. Again, 9181.
All of that water in the basement came out of the drain.
You're on film right
Go
now.
down the-
This is all her
Not at all.
stuff.
So
Oh, you mean the drain used to empty into the street? Go out that way someplace.
I have no idea. It's
Right
in the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that means the water just
Gonna
comes back.
geyser it up.
You get the same thing on
It
Route
geysers
20
up.
in Patterson. The river comes out of the shores and then overflows.
Yeah, but if they're sitting on all that shit there, but not this, because this has already got washed up. So I may have that all covered with plants. But plants I didn't plant yet, but the water never got it. The water never got it.
Good idea.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mo. Didn't mean Ken and Barbie.
I pray for them all the time. They're in my prayer list.
There you go. He means it.
I do.
Yeah. You need all you can get. Yeah.
This is the furnace area. Motor, I guess, says flood it. One of the mud is, I guess, out of here. Okay.
Thanks to a new sheriff in town. And relive Indy's magical comeback with Manning, Harrison, and Coach Dungy.
How crazy is this?
Sunday NFL Countdown, 11 a.m. on ESPN.
Welcome back to Nittany Lion Hotline. Tonight our guest is head football coach Joe Paterno. Bobby in Harrisburg, go ahead, you're on with Joe.
How come Penn State's the only team that doesn't have the American flag on their uniform?
Oh, boy.
Gee, I have no idea.
I would hope everybody realizes that we're patriots.
Green 50!
Years ago, there was a big parade in New York City on the Columbus Day, and a lot of Italian Americans wanted me to go march. I said, I don't have anything to prove. The only thing you get to prove is that what have we done to make America better? What do we stand for? Day in and day out, you know, flags all over the place. So and that's not the, you know, you always got to be careful, because when I say something like that, so there's some people who really want to wear the flag, and that's fine. I have no problems with that. But I really am reluctant to ever just put symbols up. I think actions are important.
Brooklyn, New York, Joe Paterno's hometown. Joe competed here at touch football, stickball, and life. He spent most of his youth in the Flatbush area of this great melting pot.
Around. What else?
We were all right in that pot. We're all struggling, fighting, helping each other. There was Jews, and there was Irishmen, and Germans, and Italians, and the whole bit. To me, diversity was, I didn't know, you know, we had a kid, Sammy Finkelstein, the best punch ball player we had on the team. Every night, 5 o'clock, Sammy'd have to leave. He had to go to Jewish church school. So, you know, we might have said, hey, we'll see you, Kike, and he might have said, well, you wops stay and play, you know. I mean, it was done. It was, you know, we loved each other and respected each other.
There was little money and an emphasis on hard work and education, especially education. That message was reinforced by the family celebration held when his father passed the bar exam. Angelo Paterno was a liberal man who encouraged his children to have fun. His mother was a stern taskmaster, always demanding that her children excel in everything.
I get a little bit of the things that make it possible for me to have stayed in coaching as long as I have, in the sense of understanding people from my father. And I've been able to stay in it as a competitor because I think it's like my mom, I can't stand to be second.
Joe and his younger brother George became an explosive football tandem at Brooklyn Prep, the private school where Joe's dad had to bargain with the headmaster to send his sons because he couldn't afford the tuition.
He was a very willful a person when it came to competitiveness. And when he was about 6, I was about 4 or 5, and we were on the beach playing with a rake. I tried to take his rake, and he hit me in the face on the nose with it, and I still got the scar. I always said he kept me out of Hollywood.
For Joe, the team concept, as in We Are Penn State, derives from neighborhood, from family, from Rome. His discovery didn't come from his travels, but rather through Virgil's epic poem, The Aeneid, which was introduced to him while he was in his senior year at Brooklyn Prep High School. The story of the Aeneid evolves. Troy is being sacked by the Greeks, and Aeneas flees with his father on his back, his son at his side, both protecting the past and the future. After terrible storms and battles at sea, Aeneas washes up on the shores of Italy and founds Rome. This is Aeneas's destiny, his fate. But it is in his suffering and his ability to act when all seems lost around him that fascinated Paterno.
Fatum, the term that was used, fate. You're fated to do certain things, had a tremendous impact on what I felt I could do and what I was fated to do. Aeneas always overcame things. No matter how beaten down he was, he always seemed to be able to call on some kind of inner strength. In times when I've had some problems, whether I was on the right track, whether I'd have enough guts to go on with what I was doing, he's been kind of a hero for me.
Paterno's teams have struggled and suffered recently as the Lions have limped to 2 losing seasons in the last 3 years.
They were calling for his head. There were people whispering it. Some of you say you want him gone, and I know you're out there. You're going to take that walk to the mound and say, this guy's lost his fastball. Are you going to take that walk to the mound?
Gary, come here. Young man wants to know all about Joe Paterno. Turn the tape off.
After a 1-4 start in 2001, they hosted Ohio State and trailed by 18 points. It was the type of situation where Virgil's hero Aeneas thrived.
I mean, he loves it when the odds are long and things aren't looking great. He loves to pull those games out.
Here's Mills going to keep it on the option. He's hopping over deep one. He's going to go. He's going to go. Touchdown.
Joe Paterno's done it. He's become the winningest coach in the history of Division I college football, surpassing the legendary Bear Bryant.
Some of us don't understand the difference between excellence and success. Success is really based on somebody else's opinion of us. Excellence, we have control of it. And that if you believed in certain things and you worked hard at it and you stuck to your values and your morals, excellence becomes part of you. And you don't worry whether somebody says, hey, he's good or bad. Count on them to tell you whether you've been successful, but count on yourself for your excellence.
More daring. More dangerous. The creator of Law and Order takes Dragnet to a whole new level. LA's best cops, solving its worst cases. Saturday.
You kept a dozen girls as sex slaves.
In a new episode.
She was stabbed to death.
The only thing more shocking than 3 murders is what they'll do to catch this killer. A new LA Dragnet, ABC Saturday, 10/9 Central.
My great-great-grandfather, D.G. Yingling, came to Pottsville in 1829 with aspirations of being in the beer industry. We've been around for almost 2 centuries, and there's been a few challenges. From the Civil War to Prohibition, then in the 50s and 60s, the big corporate breweries began to dominate the industry. It took a while, but people now appreciate the taste of a handcrafted beer. There is only one oldest, and we're proud of that.
It's Bernie Honda's annual year-end clearance sale. Bernie Honda has no money down leases and financing rates as low as 1.9%. Lease a 2003 Honda Accord for $189 a month or a Honda Civic for $119 a month. The top-of-the-line Honda Odyssey lease for $259 a month or buy the Odyssey LX for just $22,995. Get the top-rated 8-passenger Pilot for only $26,495. Find great deals on great cars at Bernie Honda's annual year-end clearance sale. Call 1-800-822-2110 or on the web at berniehonda.com.
Robert Frost said, "Home is where when you go there, they must take you in." I associate Penn State with a sense of permanency, a sense of consistency. Coming back home is a comfort because it kind of reminds you of your elemental self, of who you really are.
Grammy-winning composer Mike Reed was an All-America defensive tackle for Joe Paterno on the undefeated teams of 1968 and 1969. Teams that put Penn State into national prominence.
All right. Pretty good, pretty good.
But in the late 60s, the perception was that college football in the East was mediocre. Teams like Texas, Ohio State, USC, Alabama, and Nebraska garnered all the attention playing in strong conferences.
He was kind of the pioneer out there for Eastern college football. He was always fighting national media. I mean, there were a couple of times, I forget what interviews, where they got Penn State confused with University of Pennsylvania, and that just got Joe just absolutely livid.
Nice going, man. 10-0. It ain't bad.
The AP and the UPI will name Texas #1, as we know, after this game.
President Nixon was casting his lot with the Texas Longhorns before the Bowls were even played. Paterno was livid. Penn State finished the 1969 season undefeated and #2 in the polls.
I think the fans, the players themselves, all the people who really love football are entitled to have a champion decided on the field.
I definitely felt that we were slighted. And even looking back now, we were the best team. No doubt about it. We could have matched up against anyone. We felt that we were #1.
Joe Paterno said late in his career, "I hope that they are not going to judge me on how many games I won or lost. Rather, I hope they judge me on the impact we have had on people's lives." Mike Reed became a showpiece for something Paterno called the grand experiment. The idea that you could blend football with academics, graduate players, and still win.
You're here for one main reason, to get an education. You got to do the book work. You're here for a second main reason, to play football. But you're also here to experience a change in life, this metamorphosis that the university life allows you. You know, go do different things, get involved in campus politics, join a fraternity.
He'd walk every day to work, and he would knock on the window to get us up for classes. Come on, get up, you gotta go.
In 1949, Paterno quarterbacked Brown University to an 8-1 record. He led the team in kickoff returns, punt returns, scoring, and had 6 interceptions playing defense.
Stanley Woodward wrote of Joe. He said he can't run, he can't pass, all he can do is think and win. And that's pretty much the kind of player that Joe was.
Paterno received his degree in English. His years at Brown told Joe that athletes could be more than dumb jocks.
East 13 traffic.
Come on, Dave. Frank's holding hanging on.
Huh?
Frank's hanging on.
I can't help it. What the hell are we going to do? We're in a tough ball game.
I happened to see Joe, and I said, Joe, I have one of your players. He's missed 2 classes now. And he said to me, have you spoken to him? And I said, yes, but I'm not going to speak to him again. He said, don't speak to him. If he doesn't measure up, you flunk him. And I said, well, he might be your quarterback. And he said, I don't care. He said, if he doesn't go to class and the word gets around the locker room, hey, you don't have to go to school at Penn State, he'll ruin my team for the next 2 or 3 years.
In 1973, after 8 years as head coach, Joe Paterno was asked to be the commencement speaker at Penn State's graduation. The grand experiment was working. The same message that Paterno was preaching to recruits was being heard by parents all across the land. Penn State was developing an identity.
But I want to assure you that I stepped outside my role as a football coach with a lot of trepidation and with a lot of humility. In fact, I may be the only commencement speaker of the year who doesn't give his opinion on Watergate. Except I do want to say one thing. I've wondered how President Nixon could know so little about Watergate in 1973 and know so much about college football in 1969.
Angela, please.
Can you go to the satellite image, please? 33 degrees, 22.6 minutes.
Why do we work? Why do we get up every day and go to work? Because we make things, fix things, send our kids off to learn things. At the Principal Financial Group, we know you don't just work to retire, you work to live. That's why we give people the financial tools to help them keep more of the money they make and do more with the money they save. You work hard, we make work hard for you. The Principal Financial Group, we understand what you're working for.
I make a living with my body. At 37 years of age, everything I do is about getting an edge. Bowflex is my edge.
This is the Bowflex Ultimate. Quite possibly the best home fitness machine ever made.
I'm faster, stronger, more explosive than I've ever been in my life. Age is just a number.
In as little as 20 minutes a day, 3 times a week, you can get real results that can change your entire body.
If you want real results, give Bowflex a try.
Bowflex is so effective that we guarantee you will get the results you want in 6 weeks or less.
You name it, you can do it on the Bowflex.
Call us and ask for a free video or DVD and check out the entire Bowflex lineup. Or visit us online at BowflexInZone.com today.
Most guys my age are sitting on the couch on Sundays.
390-pound phenom Bob the Beast Sapp. Hard-hitting KO champion Carter Williams. ESPN pay-per-view presents K1's Final Elimination, Saturday, October 11th. To order, call your cable company, DirecTV, or Dish Network.
State College is located in central Pennsylvania, halfway between Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. And on 6 or 7 Saturdays each fall, an American carnival takes place here. As many as 110,000 people from all over the state and beyond make a pilgrimage to Beaver Stadium, making it the 3rd largest city in the state on football Saturdays.
This is the house that Joe built. I mean, all this is him.
Joe's a good man. At heart, he takes care of people.
I have his 324 socks on.
He could have been an amazing politician. He has the calculation and manipulation of the brilliant guy he is. And yet he has the charm and the intuitive skills, almost of an artist in a lot of ways, the sense of humor. Usually you don't see those two things together.
The folk hero status that Paterno enjoys in Pennsylvania derives from a decision he made in 1972. Paterno accepted an offer to coach the New England Patriots for $1 million when he was making only $35,000 a year at State College.
Now look, you guys got to put a drive together. Now let's see if you got a little class and you get a good drive together.
The night before his press conference announcement, he went to bed and told his wife, "Honey, you're going to bed with a millionaire."
In the middle of the night, I was nursing the baby and started to cry. I couldn't help it. I just cried and cried. I did not want to leave the small town.
Went to bed and I got thinking, and you know, I'm getting seduced by money.
Paterno woke up the next morning and told his wife, "I can't do it. I can't leave." Much like his childhood hero, Virgil's Aeneas, Paterno felt something in his gut about what he was fated to do in order to fulfill his destiny.
College coaches have a different mission in life. They are trying to develop young men for the next 30, 40, 50, 60 years of living. You're dealing with so many negative things. I got a death in my family. My girlfriend's pregnant. You inherited the family problems of 18, 19, and 20-year-old kids. Pro football deals with anything like that?
That generation values consistency. They value constancy in terms of what you stand for. Money is not important. It's about what you can do for other people, and serving people.
Well, Boomer's starting to look better.
With his commitment to Penn State now secure, Joe set his sights on the one prize that had eluded him, a national championship.
The 1979 Sugar Bowl. Number 1 ranked Penn State Nittany Lions. Number 2 ranked Crimson Tide of Alabama. Could be the ball of wax right here. 4th and goal with a half a yard. Duman.
Paterno blamed himself for the defeat. He had come up short when it had mattered most versus Bear Bryant.
I was going to get out of coaching. I went to New York, spent 3-4 days in New York, went back to Brooklyn, went back to my old church. I was pouting a little bit, and I think that showed.
They moped. They moped through spring practice. They moped through the whole season. And he was getting all dressed to go to the Hall of Fame dinner. And I said, "Don't come home till you get this out of your system. I can't keep living with this."
It was as if someone was asking Paterno to just be patient, because he finally saw the results of his work pay off when the Lions played Georgia in the 1983 Sugar Bowl.
3, 2, 1, Penn State national champion! What a tribute to this football team. What a tribute to his coach.
A few weeks later, Joe was invited to speak to the Board of Trustees. His message was clear. Let's use this football success as a fulcrum to make Penn State a better school. Let's raise money for new buildings. Let's lift up departments that aren't as good as they should be. Let's pursue brilliant young professors. In short, let's make Penn State number 1 in everything.
Welcome to the meeting that's nothing like a meeting. No travel, no downtime, just pure collaboration. Microsoft Office Live Meeting, a new service that lets you collaborate with groups small to large. Hold impromptu discussions to high-profile presentations, all with just a phone, PC, and an internet connection. So no matter where you are, it's as if you're all at the same table.
Road game, huh? I just love road games. No distractions, just you against the world. It's an opportunity to prove yourself, to show everyone out there you can win no matter what. It's just a sales call. Son, there's no such thing as just a sales call.
When you're on the road, count on Fairfield Inn's inviting affordable rooms.
Son, you need a fight song. Bum, bum,
Yeah, fight song. Right, coach, right.
Road game, huh?
At Fairfield Inn, earn double Marriott Rewards points when you pay with Visa through January 31st.
4 years ago, the man she loved betrayed her.
I put a bullet in her head, but her heart just kept on beating.
Now she must face his elite team of assassins.
You didn't think it was going to be that easy, did you? I kind of did.
About to have us a knife fight.
That woman deserves her revenge.
A film by Quentin Tarantino.
You and I have unfinished business.
Kill Bill. Rated R. Now playing everywhere.
Whoa, slow down. Let's see what's going on here. Yeah, the new yellow pages are out. Let's see which one they pick, yellow book or the other book. She's taking a yellow book. Ah, yellow book. You see what she's choosing? I told you they all pick yellow book. Oh, no. Yellow book. Look, she's taking one of ours. Yeah. Yellow book. Again. I told you we're in trouble. Hey, we work for the phone company. What are you doing? I can see why people love it.
Today, people are choosing Yellow Book, not that other book. Call 1-800-YB-YELLOW.
This Tuesday on Playmakers.
The DA offered a deal?
If you accept the deal, I will reinstate you effective immediately.
What do you think I should do?
I think you should tell them to shove it.
Does she know about you? She doesn't need to know. You can fake it all you want, but it's gonna come out sooner or later. You're gay.
This is from my juvenile record.
Everyone has something to hide.
I'm pregnant.
Playmakers, the hit series, continues Tuesday, 9 p.m. on ESPN. Preceded by last week's episode at 8.
A funny thing happened last year to Joe Paterno after his Nittany Lions overtime loss to Iowa. He was watching what was perhaps his last chance at an undefeated season slip away when he blew his cool.
To me, he looked like somebody who was just barely in control of his emotions. I mean, he was furious. That was a scary picture.
As he's running with that maniacal look on his face, I can hear Paterno in the back of my mind going, "Keep your poise, Millen, keep your poise." And I just thought to myself, you know what? I understand. Every now and then, lose your poise. It's okay, but get it back.
I thought he made a couple of lousy calls on the other side of the field.
Joe Paterno has always had an on-off relationship with the press. Through the highs.
Well, it's nice to win, isn't it?
And the lows.
I've got anything to tell you guys, okay? There's no sense in wasting your time.
He can be engaging.
Hey, you got long pants on, eh? You know, it's cold. Don't give me that.
Charming.
But you guys must think I'm still a dinosaur.
Sullen.
I don't know.
And even flippant.
Now, you guys think more about those things than I do.
But never phony.
Don't bait me, will you?
He doesn't get mad at tough questions as long as they're well thought out. He wants to get into a conversation because he believes he's going to win it. It's like a politician, a great politician in a debate. Bad politicians don't want to be in a debate. The good ones love it. The good ones know it's going to make them look better.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
He took over in '66, and there was a small group of reporters who used to come up, about 10 of them, to cover Penn State. This small group would informally talk with him about literature, politics, and about his desires to have higher standards in college athletics. And they would write very favorably about it. He was partially a media creation as a model of a sports leader.
In the 60s, when college football was just starting to flower on network TV, Joe courted the press, allowing them to practices, even giving them his game plan the night before kickoff. That all changed in 1979, when Joe made what he thought were off-the-record remarks at an informal press gathering. When asked whether he intended to get into politics, Joe responded, "What?" and turned the game over to the Barry Switzers and Jackie Sherrills. It was printed.
He made it in the presence of a few media that he trusted, and he regretted it, and he called to apologize for that. And I admire and respect the man for doing that.
You sit around and you talk about a lot of things, some of which can be reported using your own good judgment, and some of which obviously can't be reported. You know, maybe I'm old school, but I firmly believe that you have to have a climate of trust.
It's all over. They're jumping for joy in Happy Valley. Hey, I think I get out my blue underwear now.
Another national championship led to a hotter media spotlight. Joe began to retreat, ever more wary of cameras and typewriters.
I just wish we weren't so wrapped up in big-time college football. We got this stuff going on. The media drives you nuts. I mean, it's great. Everybody's, oh boy, you're gonna be on television. You know, that's not my cup of tea, to be frank with you.
And so, the press continued to write stories about Joe's transgression in the Iowa game last year.
I think if I had it to do over, I would have kept my mouth shut. You know, I should have been a little bit more, hey, calm down, let's let this thing go.
One newspaper editorial, in the most politically correct way, suggested that Paterno's actions could incite violence against referees. Another made a case for Joe's actions costing Larry Johnson the Heisman Trophy, even though Johnson's big games came long after the Iowa incident.
Any of you guys ever heard of H.L. Mencken? Who was a great editor and one of the great editors of all times. He said there are only two stories, and they'd go like this: oh, the wonder of it, and oh, the shame of it. Now, I don't know where this fits, but somewhere in there, you guys have been taken. Okay, I'll see. I got it.
Every 5 or 6 years, somebody will come up here with the goal that they're going to expose Penn State. They're going to turn over the magic rock that's got this dark secret hidden beneath it. And they leave shaking their heads, and they go back and they write a puff piece, which is not to say that Joe's perfect, but they just find out that it is as advertised for the most part.
It's been great to see a bunch of kids get in there and struggle and fight in spite of those damn officials.
Tools, tools, tools. When you got a job to do, they're always on your mind. And that's why you trust the store that loves tools as much as you do. More people buy their tools from Sears than anywhere else in America, because only Sears has the best selection and all the top brands, including Craftsman, America's #1 tool brand. Right now, during the National Tool Sale, get 0% financing for a whole year on Craftsman tool storage and compressors over $299. Sears, good life, great price.
The best bowlers in the world, bending the laws of physics. The PBA Tour is back. Spin doctors Chris Barnes and Norm Duke lead the pack into the first tourney of the season.
You think this guy has some magic?
The PBA Banquet Open, Sunday at 1 on ESPN.
From the heart of Yingling country comes a new beer. Enjoy a light lager tonight.
Baby, it's cold outside. Staying warm always starts at
Keepers! Keepers! Keepers Army Navy! Quince! Quince! Quince Army Navy!
Keep Kiefer's Army Navy and Quint's Army Navy bring you the area's most incredible savings on work clothes, work boots, military clothing, and Carhartt work clothes. Get to Kiefer's Army Navy in Kingston, Quint's Army Navy in Scranton, the working man's headquarters.
As the seasons fade amidst the cheers and generations of players grow up before his eyes, Joe Paterno remains unchanged. His pants are still tightly cuffed, just as they were in the 60s when his wife complained that he always got mud on the one good pair he owned.
When you walk around downtown State College, everybody's young. It's really like you have found the fountain of youth. Now, you know, I'm aging, my dad's, everybody's getting older, but the students are all staying the same age, and I think he loves that.
Same school, same wife, same habits and routines, and the same long walks down the same paths. While Penn State University has done nothing but change, they have as many living alumni as any university in the country, and the stadium has grown from 46,000 to 107,000.
The game means something to you because it matters. I want players like that. I want my coaches, it better mean something to you when you walk out into that. This is what you do. This is what we are.
Class, and when it came down to putting up or shutting up, you put up.
One day we had just lost to Ohio State. He came into the locker room. He didn't talk about the win and losing, but he talked about what this program really means, the reason why we wear black shoes, the reason why there's no names on the back of our jersey. He says, it's not you. There's a guy in that number that played in that jersey. He set the groundwork for this thing. And I tell you, that day was a lesson for me.
Watch Paterno and see how he reacts. When one of his players gets caught up in the emotion of the moment, even if there is the faint suggestion of, hey, look at me.
You don't think there's fire in the belly of that 75-year-old man? Do not celebrate. I think he said it a little more emphatically than that.
Joe knows that this is a team game and not an individual game.
Family is the essence of the Penn State way, the Paterno way.
Turnover.
Joe and Sue Paterno raised 5 children, all Penn State graduates, and now have 12 grandchildren.
He's a ham. He's like the rest of them. Takes after his grandmother's side. I can't own these. None of them look like they're Italian.
I said to him at one point, funny thing's going to happen to you on the way to a national championship. You're going to turn around and we're going to be all grown up. And you will have missed it.
If you said, well, give me your one regret you have, that would be it. Because they could grow up so fast on you. My first year, we're 5-5, and everybody's thinking, well, he's a good assistant coach, we ain't gonna make you as a head coach. So now I'm in there trying to establish myself and neglected the kids. It was all my job. I feel bad for myself, because Sue will say to me every once in a while, you remember when Dave did this? You remember when Mary Kay did that? And I don't remember, you know. I may have been with them, but my mind was my mind was 3 touchdowns away.
The Paternos spearheaded an effort in 1998 to raise funds to build a new library on campus. Joe and Sue donated $3.5 million to the university. At what other school do you have a library named after a football coach and an athletic facility named after a university president?
One of the greatest things that I think Joe can do is expect a great deal of himself, expect a great deal of other people, and convince those other people that they are capable of accomplishing those things. You know, you get the phone call one day and it says, Coach Paterno has requested that you consider joining us at a library endowment board meeting, which gets interpreted as make sure that you're there on time. Okay.
In 1994, another undefeated season, but only a number 2 ranking. Years earlier, the snub bothered Paterno. Now he didn't seem to care. Perhaps he was mellowing. These days, there is a bittersweet feeling in the air around Happy Valley. The football team still provides the connective tissue for the university in the fall. But the team hasn't been in contention for a national championship in 10 years.
He's in a tough situation because I know how it is out there in recruiting. The competition is telling those kids, Joe Pa's not going to be there much longer. He's not going to see you through your career.
For me to tell you that I'm going to be here 4 more years is a little bit cocky because I don't know what the good Lord got in store for me. I could walk down the street and have a heart attack. I mean, you know, I'm not kidding you. I'm 35 years old. But I also tease him a little bit. I said, you know, and the guy that's telling you that I may not be here, you know, I said, you know, in the last 10 years, there's probably 40 of those guys that ain't coaching anymore. I can't tell a kid I'm going to be here 5 years, 6 years. I mean, who knows for granted? But no, neither can anybody else.
Meanwhile, in Block 23, consider the cases of 3 men. Prisoner 6235, who attempted to port spoof his way through the firewall. Prisoner 8832, who played man in the middle. And prisoner 9235, who launched a denial of service attack. 3 hackers, 3 strategies, 1 outcome, thanks to a network that can protect itself.
When I am home, I'm home, you know, for weeks at a time, and which is good, and I think something that most people don't get to do. But last year I was away about a month, and that was kind of hard. My daughter calls me a lot. She'll call me 3-4 times in a row sometimes.
Unlimited calling gives you the freedom to stay connected, whatever the reason. The neighborhood built by MCI. Call as often as you want for 1 low monthly price.
At least his feet are comfortable. Wolverine DuraShocks with compressor technology. They don't quit.
Want to watch a pro football game from some of the best seats in the stadium? We'll fly you and 3 friends to Boston. You'll take a limo to Gillette Stadium, meet some players, and hey, you can even play on the field. Just go to GilletteStadium.com to enter. Brought to you by Duracell.
Inside that robot is something familiar, a battery. And while you may think all batteries are the same, listen to this. It's just the rain, but with his Phonak hearing aid, he's hearing it for the first time. And when Phonak chooses a battery, they trust Duracell.
You heard the rain.
So whether it's a child's hearing or a child's play, it just has to work. Duracell, trusted everywhere.
Most of these drivers have the same training, the same experience. So what separates one from the rest? Sometimes 12 1/1000ths of a second. The Chevy 500, Sunday at 3:30 Eastern on ESPN.
I really hope that everybody understands that this is a very unique, and I know I repeat myself all the time, but I feel so warm. I was driving out here on the bypass and looking at the valley. I don't know how many of you guys are old enough to remember the movie, How Green Was My Valley? You know what I mean? How green is our valley? And you see the kids that come up here, what kind of people are representing Penn State. I hope you realize what a wonderful, wonderful experience we're all having. I don't mean you alone. I'm having, too.
When he first laid eyes on those green hills, he had hated it. Now, approaching his 77th birthday, he looks back on his life. The line that once seemed so blurry between football, community, and family now seems so clear. It shapes one rich life, as if it was his destiny all along.
I was always the guy that seemed to ask him, you know, what are you thinking about as far as your career? I didn't say, when are you going to retire? Because, Jones, the only retirement I'm concerned about is yours. And huge laughter all across the room. Laughter dies down. I can't even get him a response. He goes, and I can't wait. More laughter, you know. So whatever he said after that didn't matter. Everyone had their soundbite.
What a day it is, a momentous day in the history of Penn State football and certainly the career of Coach Joe Paterno. You ever think he'd reach 300?
No, I didn't think he would last that long as a coach.
100,000 voices strong, on their feet and raised in song, all in unison, as if by fate they were all shouting, "We are Penn State!"
I can't tell you how filled up I am. Memory, people, all the years.
We love you, Joe!
We at Penn State are proud, and we are Penn
In the summer of 2002, Joe lost his brother George, who had been a football coach and then a radio broadcaster for Penn State. George had always been the guy who could give Joe constructive criticism.
I think of my brother George all the time. I feel as if maybe I didn't spend as much time with him as I would like to. The job is, you know, that I have is so demanding and there's so many people involved in it.
I think there was a guy that always told him the truth. And when you reach that age in life, it's hard to find, when those people are gone, it's hard to find other people to tell you that.
We were close. We went to college and lived together for one semester till the dorm advisor said, "Why don't you guys separate? Nobody can sleep." You fight all the time. I like to walk, and I walk back in the woods. I do. I think of my mortality. I think anybody when you get to a certain age starts to think about it. You know, I think it was Tennessee Williams said that he knew nobody was immortal, but he thought maybe he was the exception.
It's weird for me. I drive by a statue every day on my way into work. It's become a point now. The first month or two it was there, I looked at it every day as I passed by. Now it just goes by me, and I go, there he is.
A man's reach should exceed his grasp, or what's a heaven for? Robert Browning.
He's raised 9 figures. 9 figures at that university. It's not just about being an athletic coach. He's created a brand. Who'd ever heard of Pennsylvania State University until he got there?
I was doing a banquet, and he was standing on the side, and, you know, he always made me nervous. He's going, come on, just spit it out. And I said, Joey, you know I love you. And everybody went, oh, call Joe Pa, Joey.
Steve is being escorted to the front by his parents, Matt and Sue Delich.
That little education that his mom complained about being wasted as a football coach was put to good use. He's had a lot of influence over a wide variety of people, and he drives you nuts, and he drove me up a freaking wall, and I drove him crazy. But there are some people that they talk about, and you say, there's no way you're that good. And then every now and then, one comes along, and then you go, you know what? He is that good. And Joe's one of them.
You know, the world is so screwed up. You know, you got Protestants shooting Catholics, and Catholics shooting Protestants in Ireland. You got Muslims want to kill Jews, and Jews want to do this, and you got whites that have no respect for blacks, and blacks that don't trust whites, and the whole bit. But then when you come together, as a football team like this comes together, and you come here, and you get, and you realize what love's all about. And how much we can, all the ills that we can
in the world could be settled if you could just get everybody in a locker room.
Words can't express how proud I am of you. You've had all kinds of problems. People have berated you. They've acted like we didn't have any guts. You've overcome everything with poise and determination, and you've stuck together. If I live to be 1,000, I'll never forget any of you. I'm going to miss you.
Tonight, the most important game ever played by the University of Minnesota inside the Metrodome, where fans have been lined up for tickets all week long. The result, a rare sellout crowd of more than 64,000 will be on hand to watch the undefeated Gophers take on Michigan. They've been playing for the Little Brown Jug for 100 years, and the Wolverines have had it under lock and key since 1987. Celebrating 20 years of college football coverage, ESPN is proud to welcome you inside the raucous Metrodome, where tonight number 13 Minnesota plays host to Michigan. Minnesota is atop the Big Ten standings with a record of 2-0, one of 5 teams undefeated in conference play. Michigan at 1-1. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to College Football Friday. I'm Sean McDonough, and it's great to have you with us for what the locals are calling the most important game played by the University of Minnesota on the football field since 1960. That was the last time they were 6-0 in that season. They went on to the Rose Bowl and won the national championship. Michigan was dreaming about a national championship just weeks ago, but they've lost 2 of their last 3 games. So that's out the window. Now they have their eyes firmly on the Big Ten championship. And Rod and Mike, one thing that these 2 teams do have in common, and they certainly don't have common histories, is quarterbacks with a lot of experience who get a lot of grief.
Well, I think that's right. And in a big game, I've always believed your quarterbacks have to play big. And Assad Abdul-Khalif from Minnesota, he understands that, but he hasn't played well in big games in the past. He's struggled. He told us yesterday, I gotta avoid the big, nasty play in this game. But you know what? I think he'll be better off if he turns around and gives the ball to Marion Barber. He's the best running back they have in Minnesota. He does a great job, and I think he's a key to their offense tonight.
It's the same thing I'm going to say, Rod, except I'm going to change the names for Michigan. And John Navarre, quarterback, has just about every record in passing at Michigan, but that bottom...
to all of your favorite Philadelphia teams. For the latest on plays, stories, and scores on all the teams, there's only one address you need to know: ComcastSportsNet.com. At Chico, we've got a great lunch for our customers. So when we heard the storm stopper, well, we had to dig. The rain will now stop. Rain will now stop, man. All rain, stop it now. Someone to control the weather. Chico's dedicated electric, gas, and customer service employees prepare for storms or any other problems before they happen. It's cool. Chico, the next lawn company. In the first junior cutter is brought to you by Cannon Business Solutions, redefining the office, and by Independence Blue Cross. The Stanley Cup playoffs a week away, and the East has so much to be determined. And this is the period that could go a long way toward determining that. 12 seconds of power play time available for Philadelphia as this third period starts a tie hockey game. Johnson with the puck. Wyman, now the pass for Gagne. Gagne, rocks it top, takes it to Ronick. Ronick, the pass to the slot. clock, but he lost control. Line it back, couldn't keep it in the zone, though, and Weinrich will play it back to Janssen. Power play over. The Panthers are back to full strength. Weinrich playing it in. Gagne to stay out of the zone. So he's not outside his favor. Wilson, Ozone snuck into the head and he slipped to the Philadelphia line, cut off by Janssen. Janssen has one of the fire goals. They'll lob one in. Leclerc, who has a goal as well, will take. Leclerc ridden down behind the net. Oates follows in. Leclerc gets back up and finds the puck. Leclerc looking to get it back to Oates, but Ozone will get to him. The puck sits there. Oates trying to poke it back to Leclerc, but it bounces out in front instead, and the Panthers are ready to handle. Lorenzo will make that multiple double up now, and Oates will go get it. It's over a minute into this third period. Islanders and Carolina are tied at 1 in their game. Perry stand on a clearing the thing. Panthers jam it back deep. Slaney up the wall. Up by Ronoff. Ronoff back to Slaney. It is ramping out the center edge. Now Slaney ties for the lead and outtime of Adam Oates for the Flyers through 2 periods. So come up from the minors and he's become involved immediately. Standing on the puck there with Barrett. They go back to play. Cross ice. And it's lobbed in by Ronoff. Richardson will go back and play as the Panthers are changing. Back edge of the Spears, still right in the middle of his own zone with Gillis. And then bank it out to the Spears will clear into the red line. Spears does that all the time. He always likes to pass the puck back rather than ahead. Primo couldn't find the puck in his stick, and he got drilled for all of his trouble by Lance Pitlick. And Panthers stay now for Spears and Worrell. Two heavyweights will go here. Worrell with some rabbit punches to the side of the head. They're in tight. And Linesman thinking about getting in there. The fans don't want that. He's so far basically resting. There's a right in tight by Worrell. Two big, strong guys here. Still trying to go up over the top. Now Worrell has his jersey up top. He wrestled him down and the Linesman get in. So it never really did get going. And you can hear the disappointment from the fans when you get two heavyweights like that. They want to see the punches thrown. And they were grappling for advantage to be able to get their hands loose. You know, a couple of big guys are going to grab onto each other's arm, and then hopefully they might be able to get one loose to get it going a little bit, but that didn't happen. Big, huge guys. Well, takes the spear down, and he gave the hands up in the air saying, hey, no harm, no foul. And then they kind of pushed each other a little bit. It didn't look like anything was going to happen. And then obviously they decided they were going to go. Pretty much how the whole fight started. That was it. That was it. Against the helmet. That's not good for the knuckles. 33rd fight of the year for Theo Worrell. He leads the NHL. Now for Spear. Involved in his 15th fight overall, 10th as a Flyer. No effect to manpower. Remains 5-a-side hockey. And Lance Pitlick is back to play the puck. He was once part of the Flyers organization. Minor league. Captain of the Hershey Bears out of the University of Minnesota. But he did not win to Eddie Shore. That's exactly correct. You need to get the answer to that out. Anderson was going to forget again. His wife with the puck as the Panthers move out. Look to Byron Ritchie, and he'll bounce one into the Philadelphia zone. Weinrich is back for it. Weinrich faced by Dagenet. Found Janssen. Now back to Weinrich. Pass up the middle. Flagged down by Primo, but he couldn't gain control of it. And the Panthers play it back in. Janssen across the carry. 3 minutes into this third period. More conservative to start the third. It was up and down and wild play in that second stanza. Roenick ahead. Looking for Gagne. But Spela instead able to switch the puck across to Ozone. Ozone on pace for well over 30 minutes in this game. And the Southside pass intercepted. Roenick passed on knockdown and kept in the Philadelphia zone. Roenick comes over and good hit. On Ozone, Gagne couldn't find the puck. Novoselic poked it. It's free. His Hagman is shot off the stick of Tekmonic and up into the crowd. That Hagman really can turn it on in a hurry with speed.
And a good defensive play there by Justin Williams to recognize that Hagman was moving in for a good scoring chance. And he darted over there very quickly to get the puck into the crowd. See, look at that. Just tapping him and against the shin pad. Hagman did get the shot away, but up into the crowd. Should I answer the question now before we forget?
Yeah, please, let's get that done.
The answer to the question, John Fleming's won the Eddie Short Trophy as the best defenseman in the American League last 2 years. And the answer is Terry Murray.
The pass is front. Leclerc will pick it up for Philadelphia. He'll never run into that Dynasty count, so please don't tell me that I didn't get that. Reynolds pushing for Leclerc. And now Leclerc running attacking along the wall. Line-off able to track it down. It's time for his failure. Cross-eyed switch, but Leclerc is able to knock down and spin back to Terry. It's Slaney ahead for Recchi. Recchi is caught up by his failure. Line-off with one attack down through center. Slaney to the puck again. He was late to the offensive. See, he gets that puck, dumps it in, allows the Flyers to make the line change.
He loves to jump up in the play, too.
It's Murray with a steal. Murray. And the shot shot better take on the one-timer blocked by Benjamin. The line-off pressure clear. He took the hit from Fedotenko. He was able to clear. It is icing. Richardson back for the touchdown.
Well, March was National Athletic Trainers Month, and athletic trainers across the nation were honored for providing quality health care for athletes at all levels. So the Flyers would like to recognize their athletic trainer for being honored this month, and that's John Worley. For 9 years, John has worked countless hours with prevention, injury care, and rehabilitation to ensure the well-being of the Flyers players. And not only does he do a great job as the trainer of the Philadelphia Flyers, he's just an all-around good guy to boot.
He certainly is. Did a great job for the Flyers. The entire training staff. The pass ahead, Byron Ritchie. Tip. Gathered by Weiss for a shot. Tipped away by Stepanek. Weiss taken to the wall on the door. It's a tip shot. And off of Stepanek. Matt is able to find it in the corner. Drop it back along for Weiss. Uno leaning on him. The puck pops through to Murray. Howdy Murray. Digging and zagging. And then just on the left wing for Fedotenko. Fedotenko turned back with it as the other forwards were going in deep. Then he takes the man down penalty. So Fedotenko will go to the box, and Florida will get its fifth power play. The Phantoms battle the Rochester Americans tomorrow night. First team inspection, game 1, qualifying round of the 2002 Calder Cup playoffs. Tickets only $13, $17, and $19 for adults, $8 for children under 14. You order, call Ticketmaster 215-336-2000. Now watch Fedotenko as it spun around here, and then they slide the hook to Pitlick. So his first power play in the third period belongs to the Florida Panthers. And obviously they try not to do him in the third. Big show for Philadelphia. There's the right wing kid. Jokinen rolling it deep. Weiner poked it, but Weiss is able to anticipate. Panthers look to get set up. Oh, Jokinen. Slowing things down. Jokinen. The pass. Here's Weiss. Weiss. Back for Jokinen. Out to the point. Fair shot. Stepanek came out aggressively. Batted it down. In fact, he batted it all the way to center right. Quickly, though, the Panthers turn back into the Philadelphia zone. Ozone, the right wing feed to Jokinen. Jokinen drops it back. Williams is right there, and he streaks it down. 1:10 on the power play. Robert Stella routing up. He's led this team in points to defenseman the last 6 years. Ozone gets it deep. Landing put it up. It got by Asarius and all the way down.
Whether he leaves or not, at the end of the season, they got an awful lot of play out of a Robert Taylor for a number 4 draft pick.
Well, he and Ozone, they almost played the whole game. Wayne is set. Fouled it in, though, and poked the puck through to Terry, who will clear. So Slaney not only getting power play time, but killing penalties. That's what John Stevens says. He can play the whole game, talking about getting a lot of ice time. The coach of the Phantoms used him a lot, and Bill Barber is following suit. Here's 26 seconds remaining on the Fedotenko penalty. Ozone to pass off the stick. Back is McGill. Landing it hard off the glass, but it skips up into the ground.
Well, if you've got a guy up here, why sit him on the bench? I mean, Slaney has good credentials, so, and he's played in the National Hockey League, has a lot of experience. Maybe another decision that has to be made come playoff time. You just never know.
Playing now in place technically of Eric Taker. That had to be on the fade there. Chris McAllister, though, is out, so the Flyers will need to have
at least an extra defenseman going into the playoffs if you don't dress 7 defensemen, which is also an option for Bill Barbie. Primo wins the draw. McGillis chance to play here, and he throws it by Clarence all the way down. And that will leave precious little time for the Panthers on this power play. Touch to the high stick, so they'll drop the puck in the Florida zone.
Hi, I'm Luke Richardson. Be sure to have your TV channel on Comcast SportsNet for a final home game against the New York Rangers on Saturday at 3 o'clock. Remember, 3 o'clock.
Well, there's the statistics as they stand right now as far as the standing. You see the New York Rangers? They're not in. But hey, they'll be entertaining. They are that. Star power on that team. Didn't get them in the playoffs, but they real star. They're tied in now Pittsburgh, trying to continue their winning streak out of the Rangers. That's Glenn Stater. He's very happy with the acquisition of Lindros. He had a real good year for them. They will get a chance to see him play again. Bure has also played well. He scored again tonight. We'll see what happens. Penitenko's out of the box. And across the line, Roenick makes that trip. Yeah, Roenick is knocked down, got back up and first one high. Now Gagne behind the net. Gagne trying to fight through the hook. Box it out for Roenick. Roenick to Williams. Williams a shot. Saves Flaherty. He pokes it back into the corner where Williams will go and get it. Finds Roenick behind the net. Roenick waiting for Gagne a shot. Flaherty to stick save. That line uses their speed, and they really can give an opposing team trouble. Now, once Roenick has the puck behind the net, the responsibility of Williams and Gagne is to get into the clear, and if they do, they'll get the puck. Eyes at full strength. 12:13 remaining here in this third period. Baylor. And off the stick it in. Now back out is Leclerc. Oh, his pass. Correct. He would have sprung him, but went off the skate and Baylor got it. He finds Byron Ritchie hit the linesman with his pass. Leclerc pushes it back in, but Ozolink is right there. Brown trying to urge the Flyers on. A 3-3 hockey game, a win, and the Flyers moved within 2 points of Boston in the Eastern Conference, and at the very least maintain their 4-point lead on the Islanders in the Atlantic Division. Leclerc couldn't reach that pass. Baylor knocks it away. Moving in transition to Panthers. Jokinen dropping it for Huselius. And back in along the board. It's free by Ritchie. Ritchie to Baylor. He's planted a shot as he was checked. Oates then put it out of harm's way. Winding ahead for Leclerc, but now he eludes John and goes all the way down into the icing on Philadelphia.
Let's see here. 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. A real picture upper for artistic creative touch. Formal dining room. The sweeping staircase overhung the fireplace. Isn't that fabulous? What do you think?
We'll take it. Only 6 speed accurate CL type F.
I get tamales and a sucker when I eat them both. Something I can add on the gelato to make it even better. Or maybe a real taco or burrito. I pick anything I want. I can eat it all together. I could do it up to two. It's really up to me. I could do it up to two. And it's a flower just for me. You better make it just for me.
Daddy, it's $6.99.
Flat tires always happen at the worst time.
When is it a good time to have a flat, Manny?
There's never a good time, Mo, but flat tires do seem to have poor timing. They should buy their tires at Pep Boys, Jack. At Pep Boys, the price of Futura tires includes a mileage warranty, mounting, and rotation. And our best tires even have free 24-hour tire care assistance.
Wow, it feels good to be so dependable.
Health is just a Pep Boys away.
But I like changing tires.
You're different than most people, Mo.
Pep Boys, we're car people.
Welcome back, everyone. We have a score change in the Islanders game. Of course, Flyers keeping a close eye on this one. Carolina with the puck down in deep. Bates Battaglia with a couple of whacks at it. And who cleans it up? Rod Brindamore scores it. 2-1 hockey game in New York.
Back live here, the Flyers. After some dangerous moments in and around there, that was back in transition. There's Ilana. Checked by Fedotenko. Now Brashear comes over and runs into Ilana. With Worrell diving, but they clear the puck ahead. Well, there's a lot of big bodies been thrown around right now. You see Primo, Yolana, Brashear, Worrell. Laney Takes the puck to Rushier. Rushier behind the net for Primo. Primo body turns his man around, couldn't get his stick free, but Rushier is there. And to drop it back to Primo, it's blocked away, and Noir is able to catch it. He approached the midpoint of his third period. No scoring here in the third. He remains deadlocked at 3. Tarasenko able to put that pass to Kane all down the way to go. A little different by Florida here. They've only allowed the Flyers 2 shots here in the third period, so they're certainly playing a lot better in their own zone. Williams will put a 1 deep. Roenick gets in on Sarah. Puck to Gagne. Gagne all the way around. Takes a look. Watson first shot missed it. And that will bounce all the way out. You know the South said his pass intercepted by Richardson. And now it's Gagne on it again. Rowan Gagne to Roenick. The Roenick was checked tightly. Marcus Nielsen to the puck. Nielsen to the Philadelphia line. Stops the shot. Muted. The flutters in on Sekmonic. And Roman will squeeze it.
Listen, Toyota dealers are running a huge tank sale. What deals? The family favorite Sienna comes with 1,000 cash back for 0% financing. And Toyota Echo, 500 cash back for 0% financing. How about Solara? 500 cash back for 0% financing. Huge tank sale savings. So we need a spokesperson ASAP. Or as soon as we run out of batteries.
Hurry! This tank sale ends April 15th.
Kid Mickey hungry. So come into McDonald's and get a 20-piece chicken McNuggets for only $2.99. That's right, just $2.99 for 20 delicious chicken McNuggets every Sunday at McDonald's. Come get the snacks you like at a price you love with the Mickey D's Dollar Menu. Enjoy fresh baked cookies, pies, fries, and more. Each for just $1 every day. Only at McDonald's.
In a world of change, there's only one constant. Chevy's complete line of SUVs, with more models than anyone else. From Avalanche to Trailblazer, Tahoe to Suburban. There's a Chevy that's ready to tackle just about anything. Take that, Mother Nature. Chevy SUVs, only at your local Chevy dealer.
See Primo and Donald Brashear have a conversation about, okay, you go over here, I'll go over there. Obviously, they play in the same line. One on each side of Tarasenko. It's been a pretty good line since they were put together. And the goes to the puck. The bank of the head to Leclerc. And Leclerc will put a 1 to left of Flaherty. Ozolinsh and Oates after it. Oates tying up Ozolinsh, and that allowed Recchi to play the puck back to Oates, but then Ozolinsh all over him. Oates found Leclerc. Back around behind Recchi. Recchi trying to get away from Jokinen. Oates checking by the Panthers. Now it's Leclerc. He's bumped by Stale, trying to hold him off. Oates picks up the puck. Oates takes a look. Turns it all the way out to the line and then back down low for Leclerc. Says, go to work again, big boy. Stale riding his back. Leclerc to Recchi. Recchi stand on that pass. Oates trying to poke it to keep it free. Finally squirts free. And Richardson will lay back as Ritchie moves up. Byron Ritchie with a burst of speed goes wide. Ritchie centered it. Goes back. Bounces out in front. Come on down there and play. As he's back to pad and Ozolinsh. Play. They carry on as Recchi gives to Leclerc. And he'll just clear down the ice. Wow. When you don't see the puck, try to cover as much net as possible. Sekmonic is a big goalie. Got his pad stopped and went straight across the goal line. The only way they're going to score is getting it up, Tony. Well, 2 shots. First of all, Ritchie, he knows how to use his left leg so that Richardson can't get the puck. There's the first save. There's the second one. And that's good goaltending that time by Sekmonic. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do as a player. Crash the net. A lot of things happen when you do that. And Florida has done a good job of that tonight. That's that speed of Ritchie we had talked about earlier, is that he just went to the outside to Richardson. Richardson actually took the avenue away from that to get in front. That was the puck coming out front. There's hit by Brashear on Lance Pitlick getting used out in the crowd. There's Pitlick. The pass. Now it's played in. Johnson with Worrell. Playing on the outside. Now that Worrell up, Bruno got the puck out of his zone. All the way down the coast. Flyers still with only 2 shots on goal here in the third. 7 for Florida. Here's Pitlick. And Pitlick plays in deep center. Fitzmaurice is ready. Grabs the pass and hangs on. Coming up after our hockey coverage story of Sports Night, more on this Jeremiah Trotter situation. We heard from some Eagles and some fans. Allen Iverson also making some news as he's hoping to come back before the playoffs. And the Phillies opened the season last week in Atlanta. Now they welcome the Braves to the best of 4 games. All that. And of course, Patrick Flyers. Yeah. Ron Burke and Neil Hartman on Toyota Sports Night. Well, you saw the Donald Brashear on Lance Pittman. You might have got away with one, but who cares? Let's move on. It's a tie hockey game. It was entertaining. Gardner pinned by Novoselic. He slip it in. Carrying his box. There's Roenick. You see the passes. Work. They're a team that really basically playing for jobs next year. Williams picks to Roenick. Roenick trying to split the defense, but the puck was poked away just as he began to get it checked. Roenick held by Ozone. Out sitting on the wall. Williams great support. Got over to get the puck to Roenick and the return speed intercepted. Cleared by Florida. Not enough speed on the puck for icing. In fact, the dive right there and plenty to go to Perry. Flyers just rotating the 3 lines right now. Primo, Osen, Roenick. McGillis. Crosses to Richardson. Richardson benching it ahead. Gets control. There's McGillis.